Shalom, brothers and sisters. How y'all doing tonight? It's time for our midweek Bible study. And tonight, we're starting a new book. Tonight, we are starting Shemoth, which is Exodus. Now, because words have meanings, the word Shemoth has a meaning to it. And the meaning is, these are the names. Okay? The first words of the book. And that's pretty consistent throughout Torah. All of the books of Torah, the title that's in Hebrew is the first words of that book. Okay? So then, go ahead and grab your Bibles and we'll get started this evening. I hope y'all are having a good day. Hope your week's going smooth. And I'm excited to start a new book. So here we go. Chapter 1. And these are the names of the children of Israel who came to Mitzrayim with Jacob, each one with his household: Reuben, Simon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan, and Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. And all those who were descendants of Jacob were 70 beings, as Joseph was already in Mitzrayim. And Joseph died, and all his brothers, and all that generation. And the children of Israel bore fruit, and increased very much, multiplied, and became very strong, and the land was filled with them. Then a new sovereign arose over Mitzrayim, who did not know Joseph. New guy. And he said to his people, "See, the people of the children of Israel are more and stronger than we. Come, let us act wisely toward them, lest they increase. And it shall be, when fighting befalls us, that they shall join our enemies and fight against us, and shall go up out of the land." They might whoop their butts and just leave. Can't have that happen now. They need their slaves. Verse 11, so they set slave masters over them to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh supply cities, Pithom and Rames. Now, it's probably an idea to go ahead and hit that with a yellow highlighter, because if we think about this, what's in the city of Rames? The pyramids. And for anybody that might ask you, the aliens built the pyramids, or somebody built the pyramids, it could not have been humans. The children of Israel were skilled craftsmen in wood, in metals, and in stone. So the children of Israel built the pyramids in the city of Rames. It's right here in your book. Verse 12. But the more they afflicted them, the more they increased and grew, and they were in dread of the children of Israel. And the Mitzrayites made the children of Israel serve with harshness. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar, and in brick, and in all kinds of work in the field. All their work which they made them do was with harshness. Then the sovereign of Mitzrayim spoke to the Hebrew midwives, of whom the name of one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other Puah. And he said, when you deliver the Hebrew women, and see them on the birth stools, if it is a son, then you shall put him to death. But if it is a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared Elohim. They feared Yahweh. So they didn't do what they were told. They did what they should do instead. And did not do as the sovereign of Mitzrayim commanded them, and kept the male children alive. So the sovereign of Mitzrayim called for the midwives and said to them, "Why have you done this, and kept the male children alive?" And the midwives said to Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not like the Mitzrayim women, for they are lively and give birth before the midwives come to them. So they told Pharaoh a little fib. But, it's saving, preserving the lives of the Hebrew boys. So let's see how that works out. Verse 20, so Elohim was good to the midwives, and the people increased and became very numerous. So I guess he didn't mind a fib, huh? It benefited what he was doing. Verse 21, and it came to be, because the midwives feared Elohim, that he provided households for them. And Pharaoh commanded all his people, saying, throw every son who is born into the river, and keep alive every daughter. So they're being hit pretty hard. Pharaoh's hitting them pretty hard. He wants to kill the boy children that are being born, save the girl children. He's working them to death. He's making them build all kinds of stuff because he fears them. Control over the people because of fear. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Like what's going on today. Chapter 2. And a man of the house of Levi went and married a daughter of Levi. So two of the same tribe. Both the tribe of Levi, man and woman, got married. Same bloodline. Okay? And the woman conceived and bore a son, and she saw that he was a lovely child, and she hid him 3 months. And when she could hide him no longer, she took an ark of wicker for him, and coated it with tar and pitch, and put the child in it, and laid it in the reeds by the edge of the river. And his sister stood at a distance to know what would be done to him. So Miriam, his sister, is standing hiding in the reeds, watching to see what's going to happen next. Verse 5, and the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her young women were walking by the riverside. And when she saw the ark among the reeds, she sent her female servant to get it, and opened it, and saw the child, and see, the baby wept. So she had compassion on him, and said, this is one of the children of the Hebrews. And his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, shall I go and call a nurse for you from the Hebrew women to nurse the child for you? So Miriam stood up out of the reeds and said, hey, I can help you with that if you need some help. And went and got her mom. Verse 8, and Pharaoh's daughter said to her, go. And the young woman went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, take this child away and nurse him for me. Then I shall pay your wages. So the woman took the child and nursed him. So Moshe's mom ended up weaning him, feeding him and weaning him, and Pharaoh's daughter ended up paying her for it. Crazy twist of events, huh? Alright, verse 10. And the child grew, and she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moshe, saying, because I have drawn him out of the water. Now that's interesting that Moshe means drawn out of the water. That's what his name means. Miriam, his sister, her name means the same. So watch further on what happens with Miriam and water. Okay? Verse 11. And in those days it came to be when Moshe was grown, that he went out to his brothers and looked at their burdens. And he saw a Mitzrayim striking a Hebrew, one of his brothers. So he turned this way and that way. And when he saw no one, he struck the Mitzrayim and hid him in the sand. And he went out the second day and saw 2 Hebrew men fighting. And he said to the one who did the wrong, why do you strike your neighbor? And he said, who made you a head and a judge over us? Do you intend to kill me as you killed the Mitzrayim? And Moshe feared and said, Truly, the matter is known. And Pharaoh heard of this matter, and he sought to kill Moshe. But Moshe fled from the face of Pharaoh, and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well. And the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water, and they filled the troughs to water their father's flock. But the shepherds came and drove them away. Then Moshe stood up and came to their rescue, and watered their flocks. And they came to Reuel, their father, and he said, How is it that you have come so soon today? Okay, Reuel, his official title is Jethro. Okay, that's who Reuel is. And he is the priest of Midian. Okay, so you're either going to hear him referred to as Reuel or as Jethro. Okay? Verse 19, And they said of Mitzrayim rescued us from the hand of the shepherds, and he also drew enough water for us and watered the flock. And he said to his daughters, And where is he? Why did you leave the man? Call him, and let him eat bread. And Moshe agreed to dwell with the man, and he gave Zipporah, his daughter, to Moshe, and she bore him a son, and he called his name Gershom. Okay, take your yellow highlighter and hit that name, Gershom. It's got meaning. We're going to see it. For he said, I have become a sojourner in a foreign land. And it came to be after these many days that the sovereign of Mizraim died. New guy. And the children of Israel groaned because of the slavery, and they cried out, and their cry came up to Elohim because of the slavery. And Elohim heard their groaning, and Elohim remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. And Elohim looked on the children of Israel, and Elohim knew. Chapter 3. And Moshe was shepherding the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the back of the wilderness, and came to Horeb, the mountain of Elohim. And the capital M messenger of Yahweh, Yeshua, capital M messenger of Yahweh, appeared to him in a flame of fire from the midst of a bush. And he looked and saw the bush burning with fire, but the bush was not consumed. And Moshe said, Let me turn aside now and see this great sight, why the bush does not burn. And Yahweh saw that he had turned aside to see. And Elohim called to him from the midst of the bush and said, Moshe, Moshe. And he said, Here I am. And he said, Do not come near here. Take your sandals off your feet, for the place on which you are standing is set apart ground. Okay, set apart means holy. So it's holy ground. And he said, I am the Elohim of your father, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Isaac, and the Elohim of Jacob. And Moshe hid his face, for he was afraid to look at Elohim. And Yahweh said, I have indeed seen the oppression of my people who are in Mizraim, and have heard their cry because of their slave drivers, for I know their sorrows. And I have come down to deliver them from the hand of the Mizraites, and to bring them up from that land to a good and spacious land, to a land flowing with milk and honey, to the place of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. And now, see, the cry of the children of Israel has come to me, and I have also seen the oppression of which the Mizraites oppress them. And now, come, I am sending you to Pharaoh, to bring my people, the children of Israel, out of Mizraim. And Moshe said to Elohim, Who am I, that I should go to Pharaoh, and that I should bring the children of Israel out of Mizraim. And he said, Because I am with you, and this is to you the sign that I have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Mizraim, you are to serve Elohim on this mountain. And Moshe said to Elohim, See, when I come to the children of Israel and say to them, The Elohim of your fathers has sent me to you, and they say to me, What is his name? What shall I say to them? And Elohim said to Moshe, I am that which I am. And he said, Thus you shall say to the children of Israel, I am has sent me to you. And Elohim said further to Moshe, Thus you are to say to the children of Israel, Yahweh, Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Isaac, and the Elohim of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is my remembrance to all generations. Go, and you shall gather the elders of Israel together, and say to them, Yahweh, Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob appeared to me, saying, I have indeed visited you, and see what is done to you in Mizraim. And I say, I am bringing you up out of the affliction of Mizraim to the land of the Canaanite, and the Hittite, and the Amorite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite, to a land flowing with milk and honey. And they shall listen to your voice, and you shall come, you and the elders of Israel, to the sovereign of Mizraim, and you shall say to him, Yahweh, Elohim of the Hebrews, has met with us, and now, please, let us go 3 days' journey into the wilderness to slaughter to Yahweh, our Elohim. But I know that the sovereign of Mizraim is not going to let you go, not even by a strong hand. Excuse me. And I shall stretch out my hand and strike Mizraim with all my wonders, which I shall do in its midst. And after that, he shall let you go. And I shall give this people favor in the eyes of the Mitzraites. And it shall be that when you go, you shall not go empty-handed. But every woman shall ask from her neighbor, and from the stranger in her house, objects of silver, and objects of gold, and garments. And you shall put them on your sons and on your daughters, and shall plunder the Mitzraites. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and stop on chapter 3, going into chapter 4. I want to pick up the pace a little bit on our studies, because 2 chapters a day or 2 chapters a study doesn't seem like it's enough. So we're going to go ahead and kick it up to 3 chapters of study. We'll see how that moves along. Let me know if it starts getting to be a little too much for you, and I'll go back to 2 studies or 2 chapters per study. Okay? Alright. Wow, there's a lot going on there, isn't there? Moshe went from being born to being drifting down the river in a boat because his mom had to give him up, to being brought into Pharaoh's court and raised by Pharaoh's daughter, who taught him everything about the Egyptians, about the Mitzraites. So growing up, Moshe was basically a Mitzrayite. He was an Egyptian. Shaved head, shaved face, little funny collar, all the above. So then when he stood up for the Hebrews are like, whoa, who's this dude with the bald head and the funny collar that thinks that he's going to come and, help us out? They're beating us all the time. So when Moshe said, he broke up the fight between the 2 Hebrews, the guy that was beating him up said, why are you doing this? What, are you going to kill me like you killed the Mitzrayite? And Moshe freaked out. And then Pharaoh came after him, so he fled. And he went out into the wilderness, and he met up with Jethro's daughters, ended up marrying one of the daughters, and having Gershom as his son. Okay? That's an important name, Gershom, son of Moshe. Okay? Then he was out there shepherding Jethro's sheep, and a bush was burning, but it wasn't being consumed, and all of a sudden there's a voice coming out of it speaking to him. It's like, whoa, I'm going to go check this out. And it was Yahweh. Actually, the first voice was Yeshua, and then Yahweh. Interesting, huh? How Yeshua, the capital M messenger, was there before Yahweh took over the conversation. Interesting, huh? And then Moshe and Yahweh have this conversation, and Yahweh explains to him all that he's going to go do. And Moshe's like, whoa, how am I going to do all this stuff? Really? What am I going to do? I'm going to introduce myself, and I'm going to tell them who I'm talking to out here in the wilderness, and they're going to laugh at me. And Yahweh says, no, they're not. No, they're not, because I'm going to show everybody who I am. And y'all are taken out of Mitzrayim. You're leaving. So get ready. So, and on the way out the door, you're going to rob all the Mitzrayites of all their silver, gold, and clothes. That's interesting too, huh? Let's not say rob. Let's say ask them for it. Ask and you shall receive, huh? Okay, that's cool. All right. Well, that's our first study in Shemoth. I hope y'all got something out of it. And we'll be continuing our study on Shabbat. All right? That'll be our next study. So, I think that's all I've got for right now, gang. But I'll be looking forward to our next study in Shemoth, which is Exodus. All right? All right. Y'all have a rest of your week, really good week for the rest of your week, and we'll see ya on Shabbat. Shalom.